welcome to Storm Reads, and today I'm going to be doing a weekly reading wrap-up and talk about the books that I read from the 1st through the 8th. I read 6 books, and so I did really good. Most of them, I will say, were probably on audio, and that's cool, but I had so many things that I was trying to do like on the computer that it was just easier to do a lot of audio. And so the first one I have is Mary Poppins. I read this for Lee from Darker Creations Mary Poppins Readathon. To read for adaptation, it was to read Mary Poppins, and so I did that. I must say that I wasn't a huge fan of the book as I am the movie. In the book, she's a lot harsher and rude and very vain. And, that comes across a little bit in the movie, but not quite as bad. So I think that's why I really prefer the movie version. Also, Michael, he's a lot worse of a pain in the butt. He is really, he's a really misbehaving kid in this one, in the book compared to the movie. He is a little in the movie, but in the book he's horrible. And so, yeah, so I would have to say the movie is better than the book. So next I read Strangeville School is Totally Normal by Darcy Miller. This is a middle grade book, and it was really silly and kind of dumb in parts, but it was really fun. I think that little kids, middle graders, will really enjoy it. It had a lot of things happening in the span of like one day. It's about Harvey who moves to, he's starting this new school, Strangeville School, and like right off the bat, you can tell there's just something different about this school. And then he needs to go, I think he needed to go to the restroom. And so they give him this hall pass, and his hall pass is a little fish tank with a fish in it. So this isn't going to be an ordinary school. On his way there, a young girl like pulls him to the side thinking that he is like supposed to be helping with the pest control or whatever, and that there's a rat loose and somebody needs to get him. And he's like, what do you want me to do about it? And he gets involved in that. And of course, it's not just an ordinary rat. The rat got into the science projects and may have ate a little bit of growth serum. So yeah, it's a lot bigger than just a little rat. And so yeah, that's how his day starts, and it just goes on from there. From alligators roaming the halls to a big python in there. There was something about piranhas. There is a storage closet that everybody's afraid of, and yeah, it was silly, but at the same time, it was fun. And I do believe for its audience, which is middle grade and stuff, that they would really, really enjoy it. And so I gave it 4 stars. I forgot to say that I gave Mary Poppins 3 stars. Very low 3 stars, but 3 stars. The next book I have is Blindsided by Karen Slaughter. This is a reread for me. I actually listened to the audiobook, and the narrator was really good. I can't think of off the top of my head. Catherine Early. Catherine Early was the narrator for this, and she did a really good job. I have read this one, and I've read the first book in her other series, but I never continued on with them. So me and my friend are buddy reading this, and so I'm hoping to get to the next one next month and continue on. I think there's only 6 in this series, but yeah, it's really good. My friend really enjoyed it, so I'm really glad about that. I'm glad that we decided to pick it up. It's about Sarah, who is the pediatrician, but also the coroner in Grant County, a small town where some nasty things have been happening, and there is a lot of content in here. If you're squeamish in any way, or maybe triggered by talk of rape and mutilations to bodies and things like that, then you're not going to want to read this, so just go ahead and skip it. But I really enjoyed this, but like I said, it also reminded me a lot of why Karen Slaughter is a very polarizing author. Like, there's a lot of people that absolutely love her, and then there's a lot of people that are like, she's gross and writes gross things, and yeah, I can really see that, how that would go. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Gave it 4 stars. Um, I like the dynamics between Sarah and her ex-husband Jeffrey, who is also the police chief in town. So they have to see each other all the time, especially when there's a crime that's happened and they're trying to figure out who has done this to these girls before another one happens. And it's all kind of connected and everything. And yeah, it was really good, really fast paced. Um, if you're not squeamish at that kind of stuff, then I would really recommend that you try this. I really liked it. So, and the next one I have is an audiobook of Dyed in the Wool by Peggy Earhart, and this one is narrated by Callie Boulier. I can never say her name right. She's one of my favorite narrators, and she did a really good job with this one. It was just, I didn't really care for the book that much. I read the first one in the Killing Time with Cozies when we were doing the first in a series, when we were doing that with our book club, and then we kind of changed how we're doing that with our scavenger hunt stuff. But yeah, so we read that, and I didn't really connect very well with the characters, and I really wasn't a big fan of the main character, and so I thought I'd give it another try. So I tried this one, and there's just something about this series that the characters that just don't really mesh well with me, and I just found myself not really caring and just listening to it to get it finished. And you shouldn't do that, I mean, if you're not liking a series or a book, you know, I shouldn't have made myself just finish it, but I was doing it anyway because it was for Mary Poppins Readathon and I wanted to get it done. But yeah, I've decided though that it's not a series for me, and that's fine. What I'm this year is kind of like finding what series that I'm going to want to continue on with and ones that I'm not going to want to continue on with. I'm trying to do better about my series and not just leaving it at book one and trying the next book. Especially if I didn't care for the first book, I want to try the second book, at least when it comes to cozy mysteries, because I do know a lot of times the first book is a lot of character setup and you need the second one. So at least I found out with this one, it just wasn't just the first book. I really didn't care for this one either. And so moving on, I will just scratch that series off and we won't try anymore from that one. The next one I have is Murder in Chelsea by Victoria Thompson. It's also an audiobook. It's narrated by Suzanne Torin. I love this series. I've loved this series from the very beginning. This is number 15, and out of the favorites that I've had in this series, this is probably my most favorite. I can't really talk about a whole lot that happens for the reason why it's my favorite, because it would probably spoil a lot of things from the first 14 or whatever. But it is about Sarah Brandt, who is a midwife, and also, just thinking about it, there's a lot of things in this book that I can't really talk about because it could spoil some other things. But anyway, there was no midwifing done in this one. This was all about a young girl that Sarah knows is kind of taken in and cared for, and somebody who says that they're her mother, they're wanting her back or whatever, and Frank is going to see what's going on, and the lady that had talked to them ends up murdered, and so then they're trying to figure out what exactly is going on. How was that lady connected to the girl? How was where's the mother? Who is the father? All these things are in it, and it was very interwoven and had to deal with like rich people and the poor people and actors and actresses and all them kind of things. But I really like it because now it seems like Sarah's parents are getting a little bit more involved in things, and you can kind of see that they're shifting their perspective about Detective Frank Malloy, because they're a wealthy family, and being a wealthy family, they really look down on the police, because during this era, the police weren't always the good guys. They took bribes from people. They pretty much, you would have to pay them if you wanted them to investigate the death of somebody in your family. It wasn't a really good time, era for like police, and so they're really looked down upon. And so for Sarah to be involved with him a lot, and they have been getting closer and closer, and Frank knows that she is too out of his league, and Sarah could just care less. She's gonna live her life however she wants. She was married, and now her husband is deceased, and so she continues to be a midwife because she doesn't want to go back to the upper crust and live with her parents, and have to do things that way. She likes just having an ordinary, just nice, I can get by doing my job kind of a thing. And so, yeah, it's taken them a while to like warm up to him, and to actually admire him and see that he's not quite, yes, he's done some very bad things as a police officer, but he is not as bad as some of the others. And I think meeting Sarah has also made him a better policeman, because he actually tries harder and things like that. And so, yeah, so this one was just one of those kind of pivotal moments, and I really, really enjoyed it. Her father getting kind of involved in everything that was happening. Her mother was getting involved in some things that were happening, and it was just really, really good. And I can't wait to get to the next one, which is probably going to be this month, because I really need to read another one. So, 5 stars. If you couldn't tell, 5 stars. Probably give it 6 stars if that was a rating, but 5 stars. The next one is Belly Up by Stuart Gibbs. This is the first book in the Fun Jungle series, and it's narrated by Gibson Fraser. And sorry about the stupid flies, but I swear it is like a fly apocalypse in my room. You would think it's wintertime, they would go and hibernate, but I think they've decided my room is hibernation or something. It's really getting annoying. Anyway, back to the book. I originally didn't have this series on my radar. I've read Stuart Gibbs' Spy School series, and I've read the first book in his new series that's coming out this year, I believe in March, and it was called Once Upon a Time. And so I really do enjoy this author, and every time I turn around on my Kindle, because I've read so much, I guess, with the Spy School and stuff, it keeps popping up on the advertisement, like deal on the ad, this series, and it's usually it advertises number 7, which is the latest book in the Fun Jungle series. And I wanted something light, something easy to read, something that was going to be quick. And I seen that my hold on Belly Up had come in, so I thought, I'm just going to go ahead and listen to it. It was like 7 hours. So I just went ahead and listened to it, and it was super cute, and I'm really glad I did. And so now there's another series that I'm going to have to add to my list this year to try and get to. There's 7 books in this series. They're not real long, so I'm sure I can plow through that series really well. But it is about a kind of a unique zoo setting with like the jungle animals and things, and it's about this one guy who wanted his daughter asked, why can't, kids go on safaris? Why can't we have a safari here in America or whatever? And so he's like, hey, we should do that. So then he start bringing all these animals and stuff. Well, it starts out that one of their mascots, I think it was Henry the hippo, is dead. And so the main character, which his name is escaping me, Teddy. I don't know why I forgot that, because his name is Teddy Theodore Roosevelt Fitzroy. I should have been able to remember that. But yeah, Teddy, he hears some things that makes it sound like the hippo didn't die of natural causes, even though they're saying that it was natural causes. He listened to the doctor who was doing like the autopsy, and they were talking about some holes in its intestines, and that the amount that was there really didn't look like an accident. There was something specific that maybe he swallowed or something. So he decides that he wants to investigate. And the girl whose father owns the place, she sees him doing this and decides that she wants to get in on the action. And so they're both kind of trying to figure out what happened. And there was a lot going on behind the scenes that he wasn't really sure who he could trust, and nobody would believe him whenever he said that he thought that it was murder and not an accident. And he even tried calling the police and all that stuff. It was kind of funny. And his mother wouldn't believe him, but then, not until somebody tried to kill him, even though I don't think it was meant for him, but somebody let the black mamba out, and he was really lucky to escape there without, getting killed by the black mamba. And that's when his mother is kind of like, okay, maybe there's something going on with this that we need to check out, because his mother and father both work, like they're like zoologists and things like that they work with the zoos and stuff, and they used to live in Africa, I believe, and that's where he was raised. But then they ended up having to come here, and the Fun Jungle seemed like probably the best place for them to be that's close enough to Africa because of the animals and things like that. And so, yeah, so they're doing this investigating and everything, and it was really interesting to find out exactly who was. There was a lot of culprits that could have done it, and he gets himself into some trouble here and there. He's not sure who to believe. Maybe the girl's father, who I can't remember her name, Summer, he's not sure if her father is involved in some things. He's not even sure sometimes if maybe Summer is leading him astray. And so I thought it was a really good mystery for middle graders, and I am really excited to continue on with this series and see what other fun that Teddy and Summer are going to get involved in. It'll be a lot of fun. I gave it 4 stars. So that's all the books that I read from the 1st through the 8th, so I did pretty good. And I am currently reading How to Train Your Dragon by Cressida Cow, and I am about 60% into this. It is so fun. I'm listening to this on audio, and it's narrated by David Tennant. If you've never listened to a middle grade that's been narrated by David Tennant, you're missing out. It is so much fun. He does voices that are so fun. And he was always my favorite doctor. And he continues to be one of my favorites. And I just love it whenever he narrates a middle grade. And so I can't wait to continue on with this series. Buddy reading it with my friend Sherry because she's already finished it. But I'm almost there, and we're going to do one a month. And I'm excited that we're going to do one a month because this has been a lot of fun. It's been a while since I've seen the movie, and I may have to find the cartoon and watch it after I get done, but it's so cute. I'm also in the middle of Cameron Battle and the Hidden Kingdom. It's an e-arc that I have, and I've been working on that one. I'm close to 50%, but not quite. I've been kind of pushing it back a little bit for some of these other books that I've been reading, but I have been working on it. Also, I do need to get more into an Imposter by Deanna Rainbow. And this is also another e-arc that I have. And it's a buddy read that I'm doing with my friend Barb. And we need to get that one done this week. Maybe. Hopefully. I may have to push back when we're going to review that one, because we review it on our blogs. And it's called 2 Bloggers, 1 Series. And that's one of our favorite series. So I'm just excited to get to this one. I love being with Veronica and Stoker. It's one of my favorite historical mystery series. I'm sure you've heard me talk about it time and time again. So we won't go there again. But it is a favorite. And let's see. Oh, I am also listening to Snobbery with Violence by MC Beaton. And this one is also for the Mary Poppins readathon. And once I get that one done, I'll have my bingo that I was trying to get for the Mary Poppins readathon. And I've only listened to like a chapter in that, so I'm not very far into it. So I don't really know if I'm going to enjoy it or not. So we'll see. But it is historical, and I do like my historicals, so hopefully I will like it. And then I hope to get to 1776 by David McCullough. I need to start working on this because it's nonfiction, and I am not a nonfiction fan, but I've been wanting to give this a try. I have the audiobook for it, and so I thought maybe listening to the audiobook and kind of following along will help. I like stuff about the Revolutionary War, and this is about it's an intense human story of those who marched with General George Washington in the year of the Declaration of Independence, when the whole American cause was riding on their success, without which all hope for independence would have been dashed, and the noble idea of declaration would have amounted to little more than words on paper. So I am kind of curious to see, what this is going to be about and everything. So hopefully I will enjoy it, but we'll see. If I do enjoy it, I may start reading more history books because I do like history, and I've kind of fallen off the wagon of nonfiction, especially like history and stuff. I used to read a lot, and then I just kind of fell off to where, I hate to say this, but it's probably been like 20 years or so before I actually read anything historical, like this kind of historical, like history, actual nonfiction history. So yeah, we'll see. And I'm sure I have a lot more that I'll probably get to, but I don't know exactly. That's just kind of what's on my radar right now. And so if you've read any of these books, please comment down below and let me know what you thought of them. Just don't spoil, and hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.